Chapter 18, excerpted and adapted, of Lyddie by Katherine Paterson. Charlie at last. The young man who waited for Lyddie in the parlor did not seem like her little brother. He was bigger, and his clothes fit well. "Charles, so you come." He smiled then. "I came on the train," he said, with quiet pride, and his voice was that of a young man. "The Finneys have taken me on as full apprentice. More than that, they treat me like their own child. They don't have no child but me." "You got a family," Lyddie protested faintly. "You'll always be my sister, Lyddie. I don't forget that. It's just, I don't have to worry every morning and night. I just do my work, and every day the food is there. When the work is slack, I go to school. They give me a good life, Lyddie." She wanted to scream at him about how hard she had worked for the family, but only said softly, "I wanted to do well for you, Charlie. I tried." He leaned toward her. "Oh, Lyddie, I know, but it weren't fair to you. You only a girl, and trying to be mother and father to us. This is better for you, too." "No," she wanted to howl. "What will I be useful for, then?" But she only said, "What about Rachel?" "I have good news about Rachel, too," Charlie said. "Mrs. Finney would like Rachel to live with her. She craves a daughter, and she'll be so good to her. She even sent a dress that she made herself for Rachel to wear on the train. Rachel's never had a proper ma, Lyddie." "She has me," Lyddie thought. "Oh, Charlie, I do my best. Can't you see? She's all I got left now. How can I let her go? But I got no choice. If Rachel stays, she will only get sicker. My selfishness would mean her death." She heard her own voice calmly ask, "Very well, when will you be fetching her?" "I'll come for Rachel at 6:30 tomorrow morning. We'll take the morning train," Charlie said. "I'll have her ready before I go to work," Lyddie replied dully. "About the farm," Charlie continued. The farm. A few minutes before it had been all she cared about. Now it didn't seem to matter. "Uncle Judah is bound and determined to sell it," Charlie said. "For a man who says the Lord will put an end to the world at any minute, he's got a powerful concern for vain riches." Lyddie nodded wryly. "Well," she said, "so be it." "I near forgot," Charlie said, and handed her a letter from his pocket. "From Luke Stevens." "Thank you," she said, "and goodbye, I reckon. I'll be gone for work when you come in the morning." "It'll be best for us all, Lyddie, eh?" His voice was anxious. She only nodded as she realized that the next time she saw him he would probably be taller than she, if there was a next time. "Goodbye," she tried to say, but didn't dare trust her voice not to betray her despair. She climbed the stairs like an old woman, pulling her heavy heart up to the bedroom where her sister lay sleeping. In the candle light she studied Rachel's face. Too thin, too pale. Any minute she would start coughing again. Mrs. Finney and Charlie would keep Rachel safe. She could go to school. She would have a real mother. And she will forget me, plain, rough, miserly Lyddie. Will she ever know how much I loved her? How I would have gladly laid down my life and died for her? She took out the new dress Charlie had brought. It was too big, but the child would grow into it in her new home. Her sister would fatten up and once again turn into a stranger. Lyddie's tears were soaking the dress. She packed the bag Charlie had brought for Rachel and picked up the book of verses. On the inside she wrote, "For Rachel Worthen, from her sister Lydia Worthen, June 24th, 1846, wiping her face carefully on her apron so as not to wash the ink away." As she lay awake, her only comfort was that sending Rachel away from Lowell was the best thing she could possibly do for her sister. The next morning, Lyddie tried to be cheerful. "You got a treat today, Rachie. Charlie's come to fetch you." "He wants me to visit him?" Rachel was thrilled, but caught something in Lyddie's expression. "You coming too, ain't you, Lyddie?" "Not now. I got to work, eh? Here, you even got a fancy new dress to ride in the train." "A railroad train?" "Luckiest girl I know. New dress and bonnet, train ride, holiday with her handsome brother. He'll be here to fetch you in an hour. Now go down and ask Mrs. Bedloe for an extra big breakfast." She turned to the child only long enough to give her a kiss on the cheek, then hurried off to start the workday. "Come join us soon, Lyddie," Rachel called after her. "I'll miss you." "Be a good girl for Charlie," she called back, and rushed on down the stairs, away from her sorrow and doubt. Rachel had been gone nearly a week before Lyddie remembered to read Luke's letter. "Dear Lyddie Worthen, doubtless thy Charlie has told thee about thy farm. Although our father pled on thy behalf, thy uncle could not be moved. Thus our father put down the purchase price himself, as he has 4 sons and not enough land for us all. I have spoken with thy Charlie. He has urged me to put aside my fears and speak my heart plain, which is, that I long to earn from our father the deed to thy farm. Yet thy land would be barren without thee. May I dare ask thee to return, not as sister, but as wife? Forgive these bold words, but I know not how to fashion pretty phrases fit for such as thee. In all respect, thy friend, Luke Stevens." What had Charlie said to the man to make him dare write such a letter? Do they think they can buy me? Do they think I will sell myself for that land? That land I have no one to take to any more? I have nothing left but me, Lyddie Worthen. Do they think I will sell her? I will not be a slave, nor will I be his freight, some homeless fugitive that Luke Stevens must bend down his lofty Quaker soul to rescue. She tore the letter into tiny bits and stuffed every shred of it into Mrs. Bedloe's iron cook stove, and then, to her own amazement, burst into tears.